Hi children, how are you? I hope you all are fine. I welcome you to my class on control and coordination in 10th standard. So, this is my first session. Let us see what all we will study in this session. In control and coordination, we will study about how chemical coordination takes place in plants. Then we will also see how the phytohormones and the trophic movements takes place in the plants. Okay. So, we will be studying about these in this chapter, and in this growth hormones we will also study about growth promoters as well as growth inhibitors. In the second session we will be studying about endocrine glands, types of endocrine glands and the importance and its functions. Third session we will be studying about nervous tissue, its types, structure and functions of a neuron, structure and functions of different parts of central nervous system. In the fourth session, we will be studying about parts of the brain, structure and functions of the brain, and also how to draw a brain. Next, in the fifth session, we will be studying about parts of the spinal cord, structure and functions of the spinal cord, and finally, the most important of all, revision. Now, let us come to the chapter. So, let us see here what is taking place here. You can see that a kid is touching the plant of Mimosa pudica. What is happening here? The leaves are closing in this plant. So, as soon as it is touched, it is moving. So, this is one type of movement you see in plants. Let us see several other types of movements in plants. For example, you can see here a seed is germinating, the roots are going deep inside the soil and the plant is sprouting. Let us see another movement, that is the sunflower plant. The twigs you can see, they are rolling to the support, and you can see several other movements. Plants are moving towards the sunlight. So, these are several movements. You can see further more movements. See here, you saw so many movements. What may be the reason for all these movements? See, these movements are mainly for survival. Some are in search of food, some are responding to the stimuli, some are hunting hunting the prey. So, all these are different types of movement taking part. You can see some more. Here a hydra is moving its tentacles, and here another animal is producing ink to escape from the enemy. So, sepia is producing ink to escape from the enemy. Here children are playing for the sake of entertainment. You can see that they are lifting hands, shaking their heads, etc. It is another type of movement that you are seeing. So, you find so many types of movement. It may be for hunting, for escaping from the enemy, it may be entertainment, it may be for the sake of growth or many other purposes. So, today we will be studying about some specific types of movement mainly meant for growth purposes. So, how does this movement take place, why does it take place, and other details of it. Okay. Now, let us see here first basic type of movement, that is responding to the stimulus. So, this is a type of chemical coordination. When a person touches an hot object, he immediately withdraws his hand. This is one other type of movement, that is responding to the stimulus. You can see so many other things also. Here a Mimosa pudica plant is there. If you touch it, it will close. So, this is another type of movement. And you have grown here some plants. After some days, if you keep it near the source of sunlight, they will slowly bend towards the light. So, all these are responding towards the stimuli. You can see here plants are moving towards the sunlight, that is sunflower plants. So, why do they move like that? For the sake of growth. So, every movement has its own purpose. So, it may be for the purpose of growth. When a plant exhibits some growth movements in response to a stimuli, you call it as tropism. I want you to make note of it. Next, you saw the plant is moving towards the light. You call it as phototropism. Photo means light. So, plants growing towards light is called as positive phototropism, whereas if they move away from the light, who is moving away from the light? The roots. So, that you call it as negative phototropism. If it is towards the stimulus, it is positive. It is away from the stimulus, it is negative. It applies to all types of tropisms. Now, let us see here. You can see that the roots are growing towards the earth. Not only that, the roots are growing towards the water. You can see very clearly here the roots are growing towards the earth. So, what do we call it as? If they are growing towards the water, you call it as hydrotropism. Hydro is connected to water, and if it is moving towards the earth or gravity, you call it as geotropism. So, plant roots growing towards earth or gravity is called as geotropism. Children, I want to make note of all these things. They are very easy and very simple and catchy, so that you can write in your exams. Next is, you can see here a small twig. The tendril is circling around the support it is having. So, here as soon as it touches a support, it starts circling around it for support. So, what do you call this type of tropism? Let us see. So, it is responding to the touch. So, you call it as thigmotropism. So, plants growing towards the touch or contact is called as thigmotropism. Thigmo means touch. Next, we will see here the plants are growing towards the candlelight. See, the tip is growing towards the candlelight or near the temperature. So, they require some amount of temperature for their growth. So, what do you call this type of tropism as? It is called as thermotropism. Thermo connected to temperature. So, plant or part of the plant responding to the changing atmospheric temperature is called as thermotropism. I want you to make note of it. Next, you can see another type of tropism. Here you can find a part of the plant, the pollen present on the tip of the stigma is slowly producing a pollen tube towards the ovule. Some chemicals are produced by the ovules that makes the pollen attracted. So, you call this as chemotropism. So, plants growing towards chemicals as a response is called as chemotropism. You find several types of chemotropism. See, as soon as fertilization of the flower takes place, here the flower will get converted to fruit. This is also chemical tropism or chemotropism, and when you put yeast in sucrose, that is sugar necessary for the plant to grow, for the sake of nutrients, the yeast will produce buds and they will grow further. So, even that is a type of chemotropism. I would like to give you some more information about chemotropism, which is very important for you in life. That is, if the roots move towards minerals dissolved in water. So, the roots move towards the minerals dissolved in water, you call it as positive chemotropism. Whereas, do you know there are some conditions where the roots move away from the chemicals. What type of chemicals? Harmful chemicals like acids, etc. So, it is moving away from harmful chemicals. It is a type of negative chemotropism. So, there are two types of chemotropism. So, positive and negative. Now, let us concentrate on movements in plants. This movement in plants are tropic movements meant for growth. So, not only that, you also find responding to the stimulus even that is present in the plants. Now, we will concentrate on how movements will take place for the purpose of growth. See, this is possible, this kind of movement in plants, how the messages move in the plants, it is because of responding to stimuli that is done by electrochemical impulses. So, how this electrochemical impulses is achieved? Do the plants have nervous system? Absolutely no. Do they have sense organs? Not at all. So, how do the plants respond to the stimulus? And do they have other systems like sense organs? No. Nervous system, endocrine gland, nothing is present in the plants. Isn't it surprising how do the plants respond to the stimuli? There comes the solution. Plants are very intellectual in nature. Let us see how they send their impulses or messages. Now, here let us see how it takes place. Movement in animals takes place with the help of proteins, which I will be explaining later on. Next, movement in plants takes place by changing the shape by either absorbing or throwing out the water. Let us see how movement in plants takes place. It changes its shape either by absorbing water or throwing away water. If it throws away water, it will become flat or flaccid. Hasn't its shape changed? Yes, it has changed. If it absorbs water, it bulges. So, the shape changes according to the requirement, whereas in animals it is because of some proteins. So, let us see. See here the movement in plants may be rapid or slow. Here the movement is very slow, the response is slow, whereas we can see quick response also. See here, as soon as an insect enters an insectivorous plant, it immediately closes. So, it is a quick response. What about very slow? That is growth. So, plant growth, depending on the requirement, it may be rapid or slow, and it may be in specific direction. Some places there may be lots of growth, some places growth is not needed. So, it is very specific. Now, how does the information move in multicellular organisms? Let us see, especially in plants. So, it may be rapid in touch me not plant, slow in sunflower plants towards the sun. If there is a growth taking place, that is the slowest, it will be the least. Now, here let us have an activity. Take a cardboard box and make a hole in it. Keep a few soaked seeds in a plate inside the cardboard box. Keep the box such that the hole is towards the window. Observe daily and record, and then discuss your inference. What do you prove by this? I want you to do this activity. Next, we will see another activity. Here you grow a plant. Keep the plant towards the light or window source. You can see the shoot system automatically growing towards the light. In another case, you take a potted plant, put it horizontally, automatically you will see that the roots are coming down. The roots are coming down mainly because it is positive geotropism, negative phototropism. So, all this you can see. How all these messages are conveyed? Let us see. In animals, the growth is very specific. It may be slow or rapid, and in the form of rapid electrical impulses. So, movement is very important. See, in the animals what happens? I have given you few cells here. Here the cell which has to send the impulse, it will send the electrical impulse to the cells which are connected by nerve cells or neurons. Just see, I have shown you the central cell, it is connected to few neurons. Some cells are not connected to neurons. You can see the bottom ones, they are not connected to neurons. Then who will receive the impulse? See here. Did you see? You saw that only which are connected to neuron will receive the impulses, whereas the other cells do not receive the impulse. And after sending the impulse, it is not a continuous process, it takes some time. It has to readjust, reset itself, and then again start sending the impulses. So, the conditions are it has to reset and again send the impulses. It takes time. So, rapid impulses have their own limitation. The impulses are sent to cells connected with neurons only. All the cells do not receive impulses. I want to make note of all these things. And also, once an electric impulse is generated, in a cell and transmitted, the cell will take some time to reset its mechanism before it can generate and reset a new impulse. The cells cannot create and transmit electrical impulses continuously, and I want you to note that all these types of changes takes place only in the animals. Then what happens in the plants? Plants have a different mechanism. You can see a sample of cells here. Now that is the cell which has to send the impulse, the one which flickered. You can see so many other cells present surrounding it, but the cells which have some specific proteins, you can see some green colored spots that I have shown, those are nothing but the proteins. Those which have the proteins only will receive the impulse sent by this. See, that received, see. So which one will not receive? Those which are not having those proteins will not receive. And here there is one more speciality. These chemical impulses are sent continuously non-stop. It can send that. Whereas in animals, they cannot send the impulse continuously, they have to reset themselves. Here it is not the case. So you understood how chemicals impulses are sent in plants. Now we will see transmission of chemical impulses. Please make note of it. Chemical impulses are slower, potentially can reach all the cells in the body. They are very steady and they are persistent. Children, you understood how the chemical impulses move. Now let us see, for the sake of growth, some special chemicals have to be triggered and they have to move to several parts for the purpose of growth. So what are those changes that take place in the plants? The plants have so many other changes to take place. Let us see some of them. Now here you can see a bud. It is blooming. So for that, some chemicals are required for the triggering of that purpose to take place. You can enjoy it. Next you can see for blossoming of flowers. See how beautiful they are. For this also chemicals are required. Not only that, for the ripening of fruits, it is required. Observe that. You can see the fruits falling. For drooping of leaves also you require some chemicals. Even for the germination of the plants. Do you know who helps all this? They are nothing but phytohormones. Phytohormones are nothing but plant hormones. They are the chemicals which help to coordinate growth, development, flowering and responding to the environment in plants. So plant hormones are responsible for this. Now let us see the different types of plant hormones. Plant hormones are basically two types. Some help in growth promotion. Let us see which are they. They are auxins, gibberellins and cytokinins, whereas there are some hormones, they are the inhibitors and you call them as abscisic acid. Let us see how each one of them function. First one is auxins. Let us see what is its action. So auxin is a plant hormone produced in the stem tip that promotes cell elongation. Let us see how that takes place. Here a small shoot tip is growing. In the tip you find auxins. You can observe that these auxins will slowly move away from the source of light. So, the source of light is present, it will be moving away from the source of the light. Once it moves away from the source of light, it promotes the growth of cells in that direction. So, what happens is naturally the cells present in that direction will become elongated, and the cells present towards the cell, they will be very short, and finally they will bend towards the light. See there. So, the cells got elongated, they bend towards the light. So, like this auxins are present in the tips and they help in bending towards the light. Next we will see gibberellins. What will they do? See, these gibberellins are present between the two nodes of the leaves. So, between the two nodes of the leaves, they help in elongation of the stem. So, like that it increases the height of the stem. You can see that, see, now it has become elongated, like this the growth takes place. We will see, write down children, gibberellins are plant hormones that regulate growth and developmental process like stem elongation, germination, flowering, etc. So, next we will see cytokinins. Cyto means cells, kinins means division. Let us see what happens. So, they promote in cell division. In Kannada you call it as kosha vibhajane. A single cell divides and become two cells by mitosis. So, it promotes cell division. You can see here a single cell which is present, it will divide to become two cells, 2 will become 4, 4 will become 8. So, like this it promotes. So, cytokinins are plant hormones that help in cell division, example in plant roots and shoots. Now, next we will go to the growth inhibitor, that is abscisic acid. So, what does it do? Here a person is holding two leaves, one leaf tip is dried. You can see two leaves, the tips are dried. So, the dried part is promoted by hormone called abscisic acid. It will make the cells bulge and it will make the cell dead. So, naturally after the leaves become old, they will dry and they will fall off. So, like this fruits and leaves will fall to the ground. So, that is the action of abscisic acid. So, abscisic acid are plant hormones that help in inhibiting growth and causes wilting of leaves, falling of ripe fruits, etc. I want you to make note of it. I hope you understood all the types of hormones, all the 4 hormones, and I hope you also understood the different types of tropic movements in plants, especially meant for growth. So, children, till now you studied about the different types of hormones. Now, I have some questions for you. I want you to think and answer them. Okay. Here I am giving you a few situations like some conditions. I want you to tell whether it is a growth promoter or a growth inhibitor. So, first here it increases cell division, cell elongation and size. So, can you guess and tell me the answer? So, whether it is a growth promoter or an inhibitor. Okay. The answer is, of course, it is a growth promoter. Now, I have another question for you in the same thing. So, it increases cell division, cell elongation and size. Which one helps you? Which hormone will help you in cell elongation? Can you guess and tell me? Very good. It is gibberellins. Can you tell me which one will help in increasing cell division? Absolutely right. It is cytokinesis. Very good. We will go to the next question. Now, here it helps in falling of ripe fruits and leaves. Think about it and answer to me. Helps in falling of ripe fruits and old leaves. So, the answer is growth inhibitor. Can you tell me which is this growth inhibitor? Name the hormone. Absolutely right, you are right, it is abscisic acid. It helps in the falling of fruits and leaves. Next we will go to another one. This one will help in increasing the growth of roots, flowers and buds. I want you to think and answer which one will help you in increasing the growth of roots, flowers and buds. So, the answer is growth promoter. Of course, they will help in growth. Whatever is meant for increasing, you can guess that it is nothing but they are promoters. They may be auxins, gibberellins or the cytokinins, whichever helps in increasing the growth. All these three hormones will come there. You can guess if it is the tips, it is auxins. If it is cell division, it is cytokinesis. If it is elongation of the stem, you call it as gibberellins. So, you can guess like that. Next we will say controls the untimely fall of fruits and leaves. Which is it? See, timely fall of fruits and leaves is done by one type of hormone. Now, who controls this? Think and answer. Yes, the answer is growth inhibitor. See, I will tell you whether it is timely fall or untimely fall. Everything is controlled by abscisic acid. So, the abscisic acid itself will control all these. So, you should make note of all these things. I hope you understood all this. Now, here this one helps in cell division in stems, roots and leaves. Guess children, it is cell division. Yes, the answer is growth promoter. Can you name the hormone that helps in cell division? Very good, it is cytokinesis. As the name itself suggests, cyto means cell, kinesis means division. So, it is nothing but cytokinesis. Thank you very much children. You have given me an opportunity to teach you. I hope I have reached you. I hope you have understood everything. I want you to study well, and I will be doing some revision in the next class also. I may be asking a few questions based on this in several other sessions also. Thank you very much. Bye bye.